Hey, welcome back to Chin Music with the stars of the show, Royce, Smalley, LaVelle, Neal, and of course, I'm their host, Jim Souhan. Roy, we've spent a lot of time in ballparks over the course of our lives, and I think those of us who do spend a lot of time in ballparks, chuckle a little bit when somebody hits a medium deep pop up and fans jump up and think it's a home run because it came off the bat in a certain way. Royce Lewis has made me that guy. He comes up with a chance to win the game on Thursday afternoon. He hits one out probably a little bit toward the end of the bat, medium deep fly ball. And just because it's Royce Lewis, I assumed he had hit a game-winning home run.
It's incredible that we all are making the assumptions that never fear, Royce is here at any given time, any given moment at the plate. It's ultra high expectations that ought not to be had, and yet he continues to do things that make us have those expectations. I haven't personally seen anything like it this close since I watched Kirby Puckett up that close.
Wow, yeah, that's lofty there. But yeah, even Twins players were doing it apparently when he flew out deep and late in the game. So it's like when Joe Mauer was like at the height of his powers, and it was getting close to 10 o'clock in a 7 o'clock game, and he's coming up to bat in the 7th or 8th inning, and then he would make the final out or get a hit, extend the inning. But at the end of that inning, you'd see about 5,000 people get up and leave because they were just waiting to watch Joe hit one more time. And I think Royce now has that influence on fans as well. So it's remarkable. I don't know what else we can say about it. It's just he's in high cotton now. He's one of like 6 players that hit as many home runs in their first 80-something games. List included Mark McGwire. I'm sitting there looking at this going, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So Royce Lewis, you are ridiculous.
And two things really jumped out at me about this last week, too. One was Sunday. We're talking to Carlos Correa in the clubhouse, and he just, Carlos Correa is a veteran, highly analytical player. He's won a champion. I mean, he's been around, right? And he goes, well, Royce is going to go deep sometime into the game, so you want to be in base. Nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like you just expect a guy to hit a home run every game. And the other thing was Royce the other day, I think it was Wednesday, said something like, I don't do that slump thing.
You said that?
He said, I don't do that slump thing. Roy, everybody does the slump thing.
Everybody does the slump thing. One of my real eye openers was the couple of times, I think in the 3 years that I played with Rodney Carew, I think in those 3 years I saw him take extra batting practice to work on something because he didn't like whatever was going on, maybe twice. And I mean, it was mind-boggling and eye-opening to me. Oh man, he actually does. He think he's in a little bit of a slump. He doesn't like what's going on, and of course, whatever he didn't like didn't last very long. We all started liking it really quickly after that. I mean, the most amazing thing athlete ever to play the game will be Royce Lewis if he never does that slump thing.
Yeah, okay. And of course he's going to slump, but I love the attitude. Let's get into Royce Lewis and some other Twins issues, including Pablo Lopez and where this team is right now. This is Chin Music. This is our baseball show at talknorth.com. Again, the stars of the show, Royce Smalley, Twins broadcaster, former Twins star, LaVelle Neal III, columnist at the Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan, also from the Star Tribune. Brandon Morton is our producer. This is talknorth.com. Best way to listen, subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. I want to thank Aquarius Home Services, Your Boat Club, Minnesota Masonic Charities, and Tube Vision Institute. So Royce continues to be ridiculous. Correa's having a great year in the field and at the plate, and with his leadership and everything else. The guy who concerns me, Pablo Lopez. If he pitches like an ace, they're in great shape. If he pitches the way he's pitching now, I think they're in trouble. What do you see in LaVelle?
Statistically, the one thing that's hurting him is a sweeper. Apparently, he can't control it, and it's not as effective as it was a year ago. And that may be part of the problem. My thing is, I'm just seeing a lot of pitches over the heart of the plate.
Yep.
Change-ups that are center cut. Fastballs that are hittable. He is not as pinpoint with his command as he was last year when he really put up a string of excellent outings. They're not coming here. So I don't know if there's a mechanical flaw that's going on with him. I don't know if there's something nagging with him physically that is forcing him to pitch this way, but he looks totally different than he did a year ago. And it's absolutely surprising. And as you pointed out in the paper, if he's pitching well, this team is much more of a threat than it is now. It's been they should be very thankful that Ryan and Bailey Ober have taken another step forward from a year ago. That Simeon Woods Richardson has saved their bacon because he came up when Louis Varland was struggling and actually has been a functional starter. And Paddock, you're dealing with a guy coming back from Tommy John, so there's going to be times when he's effective and times when he's not. Pablo's supposed to lead this group, and he's not doing it right now. And that's going to be – he's made himself into a key component of the Twins' second half success. If Pablo Lopez can rediscover himself, the Twins are that much more dangerous.
Yeah, I think you hit on the two most important things, LaVelle, and I'll just add how they play together. He's in the heart of the plate with a lot of pitches. Changeup is going to get killed in the middle of the plate. Fastballs a lot in the middle, and the sweeper not nearly as effective. So how do they play together? Fastballs are in the middle of the plate instead of running hard in on right-handers, which is the way that running fastballs in on right-hand hitters and then coming back with that sweeper made right-handed hitters look very, very silly. And we're not seeing any of that. He's not pitching inside effectively. His fastballs in the middle of the plate. And, fastballs in the middle of the plate are bad enough, but when you're throwing a middle of the plate and you haven't gotten hitters' attention inside, then it makes the fastball down the middle even more hittable. When your sweeper is not working, two things for him. I've noticed over the last 2 years when in starts where the sweeper's not working, nothing else works. It's almost like it concerns him so much that he tries to hit corners or whatever he's trying to do. The ball, it's either ball or it's in the heart of the plate. And so that sweeper to him is doubly important. A, to get right-hand hitters out, and B, just to make him feel better about what he's doing out there. It just seems like it's his third best pitch, even when he's pitching well, I think. But it seems like mentally it's the most important pitch to him because he just doesn't throw anything really, really well like he did last year when he was so good when the sweeper is not working. So I've noticed that the more that Twins pitchers pitch inside to both right-handers and left-handers, the better they pitch. And I believe that Bailey Ober went through a tough streak because he just wasn't getting in on hitters. He wasn't impressing hitters at all with the fastball inside, which to left-hand hitters sets up his changeup, to right-hand hitters sets up his cutter and slider. Joe Ryan's been the best at it, pitching. He can throw the ball where he wants to. He's pitching high in the zone. He's pitching in on guys, sets up his other two pitches. So, we just see this time and again in the pitcher-hitter battle, and it's not translating for Pablo right now. Neither fastballs in or sweeper working very well.
Okay, Roy, you've got me aroused now because I've always been a big proponent of pitching inside. And especially for a guy who, I know the sweeper is like the pitch in vogue right now, but Lopez is supposed to have one of the best changeups for a right-handed pitcher in baseball. And when the Twins had Brad Radke and Rick Anderson became the pitching coach, he convinced Brad to throw inside more, and that opened up the outside part of the plate for him in that changeup. And I think that's a key part of this game in this day and age with launch angle and guys, hitting bomb stops at field because they feel comfortable, get in the kitchen a little bit, and then that opens up part of the plate where you can do some more damage. And then you don't have to be perfect with your pitches sometimes.
Yeah, every bit of what you just said is absolutely true. You have to pitch inside. You have to make hitters think that they're going to get the ball in there, and you talk about getting in their kitchen. So that's the thing hitters hate the most. It's like it's not only do you feel bad about not hitting it well, but you're embarrassed that it got so deep in your kitchen, and guys don't want that. And so the sweeper for Carlos, for example, comes at a time when he's gone. He's pitched inside. Hitters are aware of it, right-handed hitters, and the sweeper then starts at the inside corner when it's out of his hand. Guys start to jump at it because they think it's that fastball in their kitchen, and then it breaks away from him. And that's what we saw him. The way we saw him be so successful. It's the way Ryan's pitching now. I mean, Joe's sweeper, slider, changeup have all gotten a lot better, but he's also pitching inside and making guys worry about fastball. And Bailey Ober last time out had a great ball game because he did the same thing. He started. He didn't throw a ton of fastballs when he threw them. They weren't in the middle. They were either in on the inside corner or they're in off the plate. And the only other thing I'll add to yours. To what you said, LaVelle, is that fastballs in off the plate for ball one are almost as effective as strike one in there. I mean, if a hitter's standing up there and he sees a pitcher's best fastball just off the plate in, what that says to me as a hitter is he wants to pitch in there, and it looks like he's gonna be damn close, to the strike zone. I got to be aware of that. So I think there's every reason in trying to, if you want to get hitters out, there's every reason to pitch inside with a fastball.
Let's get to other interesting topics. Brooks Lee, Willie Castro, Thielbar, Brock Stewart, Simeon Woods Richardson, and where the Twins are right now here at Chin Music. First, though, we want to let you know we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio, and we want to thank Aquarius Home Services. We also love the work that Minnesota Masonic Charities does. We'd like to thank and welcome Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
Also, if you listen to the John Krasinski show on this network, our great basketball show, you know that True Vision Institute provides LASIK and eye evaluations. John is going to get LASIK surgery with True Vision Institute later this summer.
Yeah, True Vision Institute in Bloomington. I was there earlier this week to get a consultation for LASIK surgery. Found out I'm a great candidate for it, and super easy to set up an appointment. Go in there. They run you through a bunch of tests. Their people are very nice, and they will give you a straight up and honest answer for your options for your vision correction. And I'm looking forward to having LASIK at True Vision once the playoffs are over. So go to truevision.com to set up your appointment, and you won't be disappointed at all. Great people at True Vision.
Got the winter blues? Start planning your summer. Plan on fun and get out in the water with your boat club. Your boat club offers boat club memberships and daily rentals with access to over 40 bodies of water and over 400 brand new boats to enjoy. Whether you want to cruise on a pontoon, create waves in a speedboat, or reel in a big one on a fishing boat, your boat club has got you covered. Unlimited boating memberships are available now, starting at just $199 a month after a one-time initiation. Life is better on the water. Find out more today at yourboatclub.com.
All right, so it looks like Brooks Lee is about ready to come up, or at least the statistics say that. You never really know if a player's ready. It feels like something's going to happen here. Kepler's dealing with a sore neck. They could use another bat. What's the upside for Brooks Lee? Let's start with LaVelle here.
I think about Brooks, and I believe he belted 2 home runs yesterday. I did not look to see who he hit him off of, because the thing about Brooks is that his numbers against left-handed pitchers as a right-handed hitter are not strong. That's one thing he needed to adjust. I believe his OPS against lefty pitchers was like in the 600s. I did note a few days ago, Brooks had a huge game. He hit 3 doubles, and all were against left-handed pitchers. So I thought that was a step in the right direction for him. And the Twins must say screw it, because he does so much damage as a left-handed hitter that they're willing to deal with him right-handed. Because, Rocco has no problems platooning or pinch hitting. So maybe they'll take him the way he is. But he's definitely knocking on the door. I noticed that Eduard Julian been moved to first a couple of times so Lee could play second. Julian hasn't done anything since going to St. Paul, by the way. But, yeah, I think the time is near. And when you have an injury like Max Kepler's, maybe it opens up the door for Matt Wallner. Wallner's been hitting a ton over the last couple of weeks, and maybe he's found whatever he was missing to unlock that great power he has to maybe help the squad out. Because the Twins could use some pop from the left-handed hitter's batter's box, man. And Lee could be that one for sure, and maybe Wallner.
And by the way, before Roy chimes in, right now at St. Paul, Brooks Lee's OPS as a right-handed hitter is 1.124. His OPS as a left-handed hitter is 936. So not too shabby from that side.
All right, what the hell was I looking at?
Well, no, I think he doesn't have that many bats. I think he got on a hot streak in the last week and started hitting some right-handed pitchers.
I think I was referring to his numbers last year. So the role he's on right now makes him even more attractive. So I stand corrected on that, because I was going on what he was doing last year for the most part.
Well, that is what he had to work on, though. So what do you think, Roy? What's his upside?
When you average almost one from both sides of the plate together, how does that translate to upside? Pretty positively, I guess.
Yeah.
I think they've thought since they drafted him. I think they've thought it's only a matter of time before this guy comes up to the big leagues and swings the bat. Hits well in the big leagues. So I think that his upside is probably tremendous. I think we're probably seeing a glimpse of it here, and he's doing what players have to do. You have to force your way to the big leagues. You have to hit your way here, and if the Twins weren't struggling to get more left-handed pop to use what LaVelle said, and is absolutely true. I mean, if they were not struggling a little bit and not needing more left-handed bats, they might let him go another month and see if he can really sustain it in AAA to force his way up here. This might be enough. This might be enough now to say, we need that bat. And even if he's not swinging it really well right-handed, we need the left-handed bat. The thing about him being it's just so important to have a good switch hitter in the lineup that can play, second base, play in the middle of the infield. Because, you can run him out there and against left-handers. You can play him every day. He plays against left-handers, and maybe he's as good at right-handed as left-handed. But even if he's not as good left-handed, there'll come a time when the opposing team flips the pitcher around, which means he goes back to the left side, and it's a wonderful thing to have in the lineup when you got a guy that can hit both ways, somewhere there in the lineup. So I got to believe the temptation is huge right now to get him up here and see what he does up here.
He is slugging .731 against lefties. That's ridiculous.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah, that eases my mind. And LaVelle, you've been, saying for a while, and I understand, last year's stats weren't good right-handed, but that eases my mind a little bit, because I really thought that he was a good hitter from both sides of the plate, and I didn't think he was going to be the typical guy that was drastically different one way as opposed to the other. So that makes me feel better. I think it makes it even more of a temptation, for the Twins thinking, "Gosh, why are we waiting?"
Yeah, and as we all talk about, as we all know, right when you get to the point where we're like, oh man, they got to call this guy up. How are they going to call this guy up? Somebody's going to get hurt, and they're going to call him up, and then we'll see what we got here. We're going to keep bouncing between reasons for concern and reasons for optimism. Byron Buxton is a very interesting player right now. He's running as well as he's ever run. He looks great on the bases. He looks great in center field, running without a hitch. And yet that right knee seems to be bothering him at the plate. He is not driving the ball at all. Roy, what are you seeing in that regard?
I really don't know whether it's his knee or not. I think everybody here knows that I've not been a fan of his approach at the plate. How his swing is totally geared towards sweeping to left field, and when he hits the ball hard, he hits it 30 yards foul. I mean, he wastes a lot of line drives, and I don't really know that if the knee is causing him to really not have his legs underneath him at all enough to calm down the jitters about jumping out on fastball. And I really don't know the answer to that. But his swing is not good. His approach is not good. I think it's one of the biggest concerns that I have for the Twins is, if Buck can't be the offensive player that he has the ability to be for whatever reason, if it's the knee, then it's a sad thing. But the Twins desperately need him. I mean, the lineup is. I mean, now that Royce Lewis is back and Correa's having the year that he's having, and all the other players around those two guys are chipping in big time. I mean, they're doing their part in getting big hits and keeping innings going and all that kind of stuff. Buck just hasn't been one of those guys, and he's one of the most important. And so that concerns me that he's spent more than 2 months without ever really looking like he knows what he's doing up there or is comfortable with what he's doing. He runs into one periodically because he's got so much talent. He can't help it. But on a consistency basis,
my conversations with people around the Twins this week led me to believe that for whatever weird reason, that knee is just bugging him in terms of loading into it, in terms of allowing him to cover the plate, and he's just kind of hitting with his hands right now. LaVelle, what are you hearing?
Yeah, the basically the same thing. The lack of confidence in that knee or whatever's going on is affecting his bottom half, and the lack of power reflects that. What has he got? 3 home runs?
4, I think.
4. That is a reflection of what's going on with his bottom half, and that it's weird because he looks great when he's running in the outfield, and he's stealing bases, but it's not clicking when he's at the plate. I was hoping that maybe there were some bad habits he was still working out of from last year when he was playing when it was really bad. But no, there's concern that that knee's affecting his bottom half and how he can load and attack pitches. So he's helping the team out defensively, which he feels, is the least he can do. But man, we'd like to see more of him at the plate. And and a week ago, he was actually showing signs of getting on a roll, but he's kind of regressed this week as well. So I don't know, get him through the All-Star break maybe and see if the break can help, or I don't know if there's something in there that needs a break loose for him to feel comfortable loading up like he used to. But he doesn't look the same at the plate, and it's hard to in today's game. It's hard to be an effective hitter when you're swinging with your arms only.
Well, it's not just power. It's not just the lack of power that's the indicator. He's not taking good at bats. He's not even close to squaring the ball up on a consistent basis. And he hit a ball out in Washington to right center, just absolutely mashed it the other way. He hit a ball out over the center field fence, a 98-mile-an-hour fastball about shoulder high. He hit over the center field fence at Target Field. I mean, I understand. I think there's a combination of. It's not just mechanics that where his knee's bad, and therefore he can't load and do all those things. It probably is a lot of that, but in the meantime, we've seen him be very effective to the middle of the diamond and right center field, and he has no interest in doing that. It happens almost by accident, and it's not. I mean, his mechanics just aren't good, and if it's his knee, I think it's maybe less about his knee and more about what he thinks about his knee when he's in the batter's box.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. If he can run, the knee's got to be pretty well healthy, but he's swinging it as if it's not. So there's some mixture of physical and mental and emotional going on here that's not good.
Agreed.
Caleb Philbar, he was supposed to be kind of the number one lefty, which would allow Okert and Funderburk and other people to be their secondary lefties. Philbar have a chance of pulling out of this, Roy?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week, and we talked about in like manner of Pablo Lopez's sweeper that Thielbar just has not had really good command of the two breaking balls that he throws, and those are his devastating pitches that he needs. And they work against both right-handers and left-handers, especially against left-hand hitters. But they set up everything for him against both left-handers and right-handers, and we just haven't seen that. He had a good outing yesterday, I guess, and then so we'll see if that gets him going.
Yeah, I think he went 2/3 of an inning yesterday. Finally, he had given up 7 runs in his previous 2 outings. I think 5 of them were earned. So, and he sounded really frustrating, I think, during the last road trip about where his pitching was and was not at. So, yeah, I mean, I think Roy's right. He's got to throw his breaking pitches with accuracy, and that's how he can become devastating. I mean, yeah, it's nice that he's gone to drive line and he's able to throw 95, 96 at times, but it's his other pitches that are the key to him being an effective reliever, and he's got to get those sorted out. And he's 37, so maybe he's got to maybe find other ways to be effective as he gets a little older. But plus he start off the season late too. I haven't looked it up, but I don't think he threw many games in the minors during the rehab stint before they called him up. I wonder if he probably needed a little more time just to work on fine tuning those pitches. But I think the Twins were aware of this, and they knew that they probably needed more than one lefty reliever, and that's why they traded for Okert. And that's why, Funderburk was important to get called up last year, because he's been effective. So they could pick spots for him to pitch in to try to get right a couple times. They can't do it consistently because just the way bullpen usage is in baseball these days. But they could back Thielbar off a little bit while he sorts some things out, and maybe he could become a weapon again for the second half of the season.
So we've hit on all of my 4 major concerns about the Twins as we get set to get into the second half of the season, in the not too distant future, and they are probably in order: Pablo Lopez, Byron Buxton, and where the hell are Brock Stewart and Topa? I mean, this bullpen was set up so well with such great arms and such a combination of different kind of stuff going up there against opposing hitters from the 6th inning on, and they don't have that. And I know that love to have Thielbar, one of the left-handers, be awesome, right? I mean, they need a really good left-hander out of the bullpen. But they also need what they thought they had put together, and that was Brock Stewart and Topa, and they've been without Topa the whole season, and been a long time since Brock Stewart's pitch. So those are my big concerns. As we look toward the rest of the season, if those concerns resolve themselves, they win the division. If those concerns do not resolve themselves, it's going to be a battle.
And with Brock Stewart, if he's healthy and effective, you don't need an extra lefty because he can get those guys out too. His stuff is that nasty. His arm is that live. And I think he's out with shoulder tendonitis. So I don't even know what his ETA is. I don't even know if he's if he's doing long toss drills or anything. I don't know what's going on with Brock, but man, when he's right, he's something else to watch, man. And he takes the bullpen to another level. So I don't know. To me, Justin Topa doesn't exist until I see him pitch in a game. I don't even know what he looks like. I was down in spring training for a couple of weeks. I know I walked past him once, but he could walk up and try to sell me insurance right now, and I wouldn't realize it was to Justin Topa. So, yeah, I would like to see Brock Stewart get back. And if Topa gets online during the second half of the season, then it's a plus for the Twins.
Well, this kind of the sense that I get being around the ballpark when I have here recently is that Topa's like any day. It's like it's like he wants to pitch, and he's. I mean, I don't know exactly why we're not hearing more about what he's doing, because I sense that they expect him like very soon. And I also sense that Brock Stewart, with that shoulder tendonitis, he's had arm trouble. He built his, before, knocked around, built his way back, and now has this live arm again. And my sense is that he's very cautious about arm pain, right? I mean, he just, I think, and understandably so. I mean, I think the Twins think, well, are you babying yourself too much? And I think in his mind, it's like, I'm not going through that again. Where I pitched through stuff and ended up almost out of the game. So that's a tough one to know how to think about.
No doubt. All right. Next week, let's talk a little more about Willie Castro. Correa said he's the MVP of the team. He's been phenomenal for this team. We'll also keep talking about, and hey, we're going to start edging toward the trading deadline here. Even though I don't think the Twins are going to make a mega deal, they might be doing something. And we'll keep updating on Brooks Lee and the other prospects as they rise to the organization. So for Royce, Smalley, LaVelle, Neal, Brandon Morton, I'm Jim Souhan. Thanks for listening to TalkNorth.com. We'll talk to you soon.